President, do you hear me?
Station.
Well, perhaps there is a simple answer. Not an easy answer, but simple. If you and I have the courage to tell our elected officials that we want our national policy based on what we know in our hearts is morally right, we'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness.
Every time that I look in the mirror, all these lines in my face getting clearer. The past is gone, it ran by like dusk to dawn. Isn't that the way? Everybody's got the do's in life today. Yeah, I know nobody knows where it comes and where it goes. I know everybody says you got things to know. Half my life's in books, written pages, living and learn from fools and from sages. You know it's true. All the things come back to you. Sing with me, sing for the year, sing for the laugh, sing for the tear. Sing with me, just for today. Maybe tomorrow the good Lord will take you away. Dream on, dream on, dream on, dream until the dream come true. Dream on, dream on, dream on, dream until your dream come true. Dream on, dream on, dream on, dream on, dream Sing with me, sing for the year, sing for the laugh, sing for the tear. Sing with me, just for today, maybe tomorrow, good Lord will take you away. Sing with me, sing for the year, sing for the laugh, sing for the tear. Sing with me, just for today, maybe tomorrow, good Lord will take you away.
As long as the American people hold in their hearts deep and devoted love of country, then there is nothing that this nation cannot achieve. The best is yet to come.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
And how's everyone doing, guys? I'm going to do my live all the way from Colombia. I literally just arrived about 10 minutes ago from the beach and from KFC. So yeah, I hope you guys can hear me. I'm going to double check. I think I can double check. Let's see if I can double check to make sure that you guys can hear me. I'm assuming you guys will be able to hear me, because if you didn't, let me see, guys. Hold on. I just want to make sure that everything is good for the settings. Audio. Yep, we're good. So thumbs up, thank God, because I really don't like messing around when it comes to doing this on my cell phone, just to let you guys know. All right, so first things first, like we do every time, we do a shout out, obviously, to our Freedom family, to our Common Sensors, to our purebloods, once upon a time pureblood, of course, our American patriots, who, again, thanks to Roland, that we collaborated and, joined forces together and made it one big family anyway, with Canadians and Americans. So anyway, first things first, let's do some shout outs to to our family, and then we'll go from there. And guys, I've got a lot of stuff to share. Obviously, you probably don't know everything that you're hearing on the news and seeing on the news and all that baloney, but I'm here to bring common sense. Obviously, I'm pretty much, besides Roland, we pretty much are the only common sense podcasters around. Like I follow, not that I follow, I really don't follow anybody, but I glance here and there at other podcasters, and even, Rodriguez, moron. Once upon a time, I used to think he had common sense, but moron, and the others, Moose on the Loose, all of those people. I don't care what anybody says, but nobody knows what's going on in the world as much as me and Roland does. And that's not for bragging rights, guys. I think I think there's something given to us, because obviously, like I tell my girlfriend, when I start these lives, I start with a subject, and it feels like something just like takes over, and everything comes out with clarity. And then after the live, I'm physically and mentally drained. Who knows what happens? But either way, I've been wrong once. I've been wrong once in the last 5 years, one time, and that's our Canadian Prime Minister, when Mark Carney won over Pierre Poilievre, which is an impossible feat. No one would have ever thought. He only won by 400,000 votes, which to me, you don't win an election by 400,000 votes unless it's been tampered with. And that is 110% proof that no election for federal wins with only 400,000 votes. The reason why, common sense, the reason why they put it 400,000 is to make people not realize that it was so close, that even though they cheated, that they didn't cheat by much. You know what I mean? Because there's some towns that they lost by one vote. There was actually a town that lost by one vote, Conservative Party. Can you imagine that? So anyway, those are just ignorance and stupidity if people actually believe that the Liberals won that last election. But again, just like America, Trump had tweeted out many times, Canada's the 51st state, drip, 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 just to get a reaction. A lot of the boomers, a lot of the elbows up crew, obviously hated the fact, and even some conservatives, they hated the fact that we would be the 51st state. So anyway, he threw it out, drip, drip, drip. There was some feedback. Some people didn't like it. So he said, you know what? Screw you guys. Screw you Canadians. We're going to let you suffer for the next 4 years, and we're going to see how you guys like it. And in the meantime, what we're going to do, we're going to expose the Liberal Party and show you guys what you guys just, you guys went against Donald Trump. Because obviously, if you go against Trump, he's going to make you pay for it in some form or way. The people that have common sense, there's not a lot of us in Canada, but the ones that do, we're the ones that actually have to suffer for the amount of ignorance that's in Canada. So anyway, first things first, going to a shout out going to Juanita. How you doing, Juanita? Mr. Dale, Jean, Gilles Bourgeois, Debbie Gray, Judy from Arkansas. How you doing, Teresa? Lise Adbam. Columbia's awesome. How you doing, Judy from Kentucky? Miss Maria, Patty Voltor, Brenda Pryor, Judy Horn from Kentucky, Genevieve from the Rock, Joelle Dag, all the way from Saskatchewan, Judy Kennedy, Brent, all the way from Carolina, Camaro Chevy Girl, Roland Castonguay, Miss Irene, Muriel Cormier, Brenda Pryor, Ron from the Winnipeg, Miss Sherry, Yolanda, Jane from Florida, Cecile, Karen from Georgetown, Macdan from Brother from a Different Mother from Rishabaktu, Miss Eagles from Ontario, Karen, says 92 degrees here today. Well, it's pretty much the same down here, and it's like that every day. Cindy, how you doing, Cindy? Gary, Ruby, Lori Green, Annette, Michelle from Ontario, Cheryl, and Tyler Melanson, Ray LeBlanc. Let's see here. Sean, brother from a different mother from Oshawa. Guys, the list goes on. Nancy, Annette, Kate. Anyway, it goes on and on and on, guys. I can't go on because I'll waste half of the live just doing shout outs. I thank you guys all. I appreciate you all. So first things first, all right, is what happened to World War III, guys? What happened to World War III? What have I been hearing for the last 12 days about, oh my God, Donald Trump just started World War III. I can't believe this. World War III, we're going into World War III. I can't believe Trump did this. He's a sellout. He's with Israel. He did this, he did that. Remember? How many times? And how many times have I told you guys? And I think Roland said that this was all about disclosure. This was all just to show everyone. Do you think Donald Trump, common sense wise, do you think Donald Trump went and put a bomb and bombed Iran to start a World War III? Do you actually even think that a bomb, or he actually bombed Iran? Do you think any civilians were bombed by anything when it came to United States? If the United States happened to bomb anything under Donald Trump, that is, do you think he would have any civilians, even though we probably know that Iran would probably have bases and things to bomb around civilians, because that's how, these cowards would do that. And, Israel too, and, Iraq, they would do stuff like that. But nobody, no presidents, nobody with common sense would ever, AKA Putin, would ever bomb and kill harmless civilians on purpose to get at their enemies. When civilians die, guys, it's in what we call an internal. It's an internal coup, I guess you could say. It's done internally. Like when a bank is robbed. When a bank is robbed, it's an inside job, right? Because they know everything that happens when the brinks, how the security work, how the cameras work. It's an inside job. It's the same thing when places like Ukraine are bombed and civilians die. Remember hospitals being bombed? That doesn't give any government, any president, any leverage of killing civilians, but it gives leverage to dictators and the wrong people when you kill civilians and get other countries to do that hate. That's just common sense, which a lot of people don't have common sense. Obviously, chemical trails, graphene oxide in foods, you name it, the fluoride in water. It's a whole bunch of stuff that's been planned since it's been put out there since 1994. The plan's always been around for many years, but they actually implemented the plan in 1994. Guys, there's one thing I know in the last week being in Colombia, there was not one chemical trail. There was not one contrail in the air, just to let you know. All right? And people might say, well, Jeff, the weather is different in Colombia. It's a lot hotter. Not when you're 30,000 feet in the air. It's the same temperature, right? There's no contrails, guys. There's no chemical trails in Colombia. Why? Because I'll tell you why. Because the people here in Colombia, they listen. You understand? They're obedient, I guess you could say. But they have the exact same plan as Canada has, believe it or not, in the United States and all that. Their plan is just as bad, but Canada's actually worse. But it's hard for me to say that Canada is actually worse and more corrupted than Colombia until I came back here and we're talking to my Colombian friends, and they were telling me stuff. I'm like, that's nothing. That's peanuts. But they have the same agenda, which was really funny. They have the same agenda from here, Venezuela, UK, you name it. They all have the same agenda. And Trump is going to F that up pretty damn fast, which he's been doing it. So anyway, back to the World War III. As I told you guys, that shit never was going to happen. I've said it once, I said it twice. This is all in God's hands, aka Donald Trump. So it's never going to happen. What's this? Ron says Agenda 2030 there too? No, not really. Yes and no. I'll just say yes and no. They're trying, obviously, because obviously they tried to execute the right right-wing president a week and a half ago. He's still in the hospital to this very day. And they found out that the guns that were used to assassinate the Colombian president-to-be, or runner-up, I guess, running against the fake left one, is they traced the gun to go back, or the killers to go back to not El Salvador, Honduras. And then who knows from Honduras? Obviously, it's a trail. So they captured 3 guys. They're still looking for 3 guys. But the funny thing is, it's in a different country. So obviously, when it's an inside job, they're going to hire mercenaries from a different country so it doesn't go back to them. But the cops actually got the guys. So will they get back to the people the people about who was behind it? Of course not. Because it would cause chaos. It would cause civil unrest. How can you tell 20, 30 million Colombians that, oh, by the way, the president that was going against the far left president, the corrupted president, was assassinated, or assassination attempt, because of the president that's in power right now in his party. Can you imagine the chaos that would happen in Colombia? Colombia is not like Canada. They don't have phones to mess things up and watch people. They when they do stuff, they do it, and they're not filming it. You understand? So the government, and are you kidding me? The army down here is probably a bigger joke than Canada. Most of them are kids that are still wet behind the ears that just got out of high school. Half of the police force are women with not even a walkie-talkie in their hand. And overweight. I mean, obviously they don't do pair tests down here to check out their physical attributes for the policing and in the army. It's kind of disgusting, but it is what it is. They get the people with the low intelligence to join the military, aka Canada. People that are, I would say, uneducated. People that are more docile. People that are easy to program, aka RCMP officers. They wouldn't hire guys like me because we can't be programmed. We're set in our ways. We're old school. But when they get people that are very ignorant and very programmable, those are the ones you want, because those are the ones that don't ask questions. You understand? That's why people like me would never become officers. And if we did, we wouldn't last long, to be honest with you. We get fired. So anyway, back to what I was saying. As you can see, and if you haven't seen, I'm going to show you something that Donald Trump tweeted. All right, just to let you know, Donald Trump tweeted this. And, AKA, I was right again. So Trump, I can't see this, guys, to be honest with you, but I'm sure you guys can. If you can't see it, it's just Donald Trump announcing that there is a ceasefire between Iran and Iraq now, that there's no more bombing, there's nothing, okay, between those two. And they agreed. Wow, how can Iran agree to Donald Trump, who just bombed them, right? Oh, Iran is going to do this. And you got this podcaster on Facebook called Moon Henry that's literally preaching fearmonger, like up the yin yang. Oh my God, you should see what they're preparing for in Iran. And the guy is like, I never knew that he could, start doing drugs, but obviously Moon Henry is completely nuts. And I haven't watched really the other podcasters in Canada, because they're a joke to talk about this. But I know the last time I seen them, they were saying Donald Trump just put us in World War III. And I'm like, how does anyone subscribe to this crap? And why am I not getting people to subscribe to truth and common sense? Because fear sells, all right? That's the problem with me. Fear sells, and I don't fear monger, and I don't fear porn like Chris Donkey Thief Sky used to do all the time. These people, and I mean, I could lie to everybody and maybe make some money like the other podcasters, where I have 400,000 or 500,000 views and make a living off of this, but I can't. I don't know if it's just the common sense in me, but I can't. I can't fearmonger when I know the truth. And unfortunately, people follow these tards, okay? And it's sad to say, because all they do is fearmonger and they don't stop. Again, like Roland, we've said to you guys that we don't care what the news is showing. AI is so generated, so unbelievable today, that you don't know what is AI or what is real. All right. I watched a video from Moon Henry, he calls himself on Facebook, and he was showing these rockets hitting the Iron Dome. And guys, if you can't tell that was AI, then you're a complete moron, and you shouldn't be paying attention to things on the internet. But anyway, it was just so obvious, all right, with the AI, artificial intelligence, that it's no one's really going to know what is truth and what is fake anymore. So anyway, back to what I was saying. There's no World War III. All right. And if you're wondering, guys are probably wondering, because I kind of put a little tidbit on my status yesterday when I said, why do you guys think that, do you guys actually think, not why do you guys think, do you guys think that Donald Trump actually bombed 3 nuclear sites of Iran, even though we've been hearing about the whole fear mongering that Iran is this close, from weeks away to months away to having a war, a nuclear warhead or whatever. Sorry, guys, there's no such thing as nuclear bombs. That's always been, I've said that for 4 or 5 years now. I remember telling people there's no such thing. And I had proof on it 3 or 4 years ago. But anyway, why do you guys think that Donald Trump, for some reason, bombed 3 places, all right, in Iran? So there must have been, if it's true, that is, right? So there must have been something in Iran, if it is true, that he bombed, and it has nothing to do with nuclear anything, all right? So, I had my doubts, I had my hints, I had my instincts of what was there, all right? And actually came across this person, which I don't know the name, but I came across the post, and it made a lot of sense because that's exactly what my instinct felt. All right, check this out. So apparently Trump has been bombing ancient tech underneath Iran. This technology, in simple terms, has been given off a negative frequency for thousands of years, which is why there has been fighting and chaos in the Middle East for so long. All right, this is from a podcast that's called Situation Update, apparently. But anyway, what we should know, and what I've been preaching and talking about for the longest time, is about we all run off of frequency. We all run off of frequency. We heal ourselves off frequency. That's why you don't see any church bells no more. Church bells give out a certain frequency that help and heal people. They've been taking those off for many years. You see that now, that a lot of places don't have bells no more because they found out what they do. Frequency is what the medical beds, they're all about frequency on how to heal and how to cure cancer. It's all about frequency. The graphene oxide with the 5G, it's got nothing to do with your signals for your cell phone. 5G has never been, 3G, 4G has never been anything about your cell phone. It's always had something to do with frequency. When they send out frequencies into the human body, well, not us, the people that follow me anyway, not everybody will say, because there are some people that are vaccinated that follow me. They don't understand when they got vaccinated, they are literally a walking antenna, all right, with the graphene oxide that were found in every vaccination for the fake COVID. They had graphene oxide. So the graphene oxide is metallic, it's aluminum, and it's a frequency. So they could literally play around with the frequencies to make people depressed, anxiety, suicide, disease, sicknesses. They control the frequencies on different places. So that's why you'll have a higher rate some places in other provinces or in states or cities than others. For example, people that live near power lines, like I was saying on one of my lives, power lines give out frequency and they give out a high frequency. So if you live near power lines, like those big massive power lines, you're going to find out that stuff that's going to happen to your body with your blood literally boiling because you're around so high in frequency that it's like a microwave. And you'll notice that places, little towns and little cities, like especially in New Brunswick where I live, in towns like Tracadie, Shippagan, Caracat that have these power lines, they are the highest communities with the amount of cancers in all of New Brunswick. All right. So we didn't know if it was the water. Well, I didn't know if it could be the water or the power lines 5 years ago, but now I'm 100% completely for sure, 100% that it's the power lines. Obviously, ever since I start working with MB Power, I start learning some stuff that I never knew in the past. So I'm convinced that it's 100% the power lines that give out a high frequency, obviously. So for the people that are vaccinated, I've told you guys many, many times, you literally need to do the spike detox protocol by Dr. McCullough to help you, not cure you, help you. Obviously, it will do a good job, but it's hard to get something out of your body, as in graphene oxide and spike protein, when it's been in your body for years. All right. And I've already discussed this on some of my lives, and I feel sorry for my American family because you weren't watching me 2-3 years ago when I was telling people exactly how the spike protein works in the body and all that stuff. And it was very eye-opening on how they achieve this by with this, what happens with the graphene oxide, and how your cells turn into what they call your body turns your cells into what they call a spike detox, a spike protein, and literally puts spikes to literally shatter your immune system, which causes your what they call an autoimmune disease, and in turn, that's why people are dying of cancers and AIDS and dementia, and all those things that people are seeing. Blood clots, graphene oxide, obviously caused by frequencies on the 5G. Because like I said on my last slide, if everyone would be dying from the same disease, then there'd be chaos, and the governments would be literally burnt down on purpose if everyone was dying of the same thing. So different vaccinations have different things in them to cause different diseases, so it was spread worldwide. Just to let you know. And since I was talking about the G7 and Donald Trump and with the 51st state, did you guys see this? Did you guys see that? Anybody? Anybody? What's that on Donald Trump on the G7? Anybody point that out? I bet you guys didn't see that, huh? Elizabeth, did you see that? Wow, he's got a pin. What's that pin with the United States, but what's the pin underneath? Huh? Everybody see that? Okay. Freedom Sean says Canada. Sean, it's embroidered with a Canada and American flag together. All right, Canada and American flag together. See, you guys don't see that, but it's actually put together as in one pin. So, and that says Canada. No, it's actually both American and Canada. Of course, he's got the America flag pin on top, but the flag underneath, you think he would just have a Canadian flag, but no, he's got American and Canada as together, and as America being dominant, obviously, right? Canadian and American flag. Amazing, isn't it, right, guys? But no, he's just doing that for what those YouTubers, and all for educational purposes, right, guys? Just for educational purposes, so their content doesn't get taken down, so they have to say all this for educational purposes. No, I'm telling you, it's not educational, it's literally the fact. All right. And speaking about the fact, let's just do a couple more things here that I have, because I have a whole bunch of things. So when I've seen some Newfoundlanders, and I'm sorry, Genevieve, you have some people from your province that, again, this is why we used to make fun of Newfies in the past, because they're not the brightest people. And I'm not saying this to insult the Newfoundlanders, because they're somewhat common sense. But obviously, Jimmy Flynn is a good comedian, singer that used to make fun of Newfoundlanders for 20, 30 years. And so this doesn't go out to all the Newfoundlanders, but I've seen a couple Newfoundlanders on their profiles insulting Trump left and right. So obviously, first things first is they're liberal voters, which we know they're, Newfoundland has a high rate of liberal voters, which is sad, but it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise Canada at all, to be honest with you. But they were trashing Trump like you wouldn't believe. And obviously, I think I shut them up when I sent them that last tweet that I showed everybody that there's peace. There's a peace agreement signed. Oh, I wonder what they're going to talk about that now, huh? Obviously, they're not going to talk about it because that's how idiotic these people are. So, obviously no one wants to be proven wrong, especially by me. All right. So anyway, let's go further. Remember, for the people that, started to follow me when I said this is all a show, it's all a game. Fauci was arrested a long time ago. All the people that had stuff to do with the pandemic, they pretty much have been wiped out, aka arrested, aka deadbolt, aka executed for crimes against humanity. And then I told everyone that for some reason, where the hell was Theresa Tam, our health minister of Canada? The one that said you had to mask up while having sex and you couldn't do this and you couldn't do that. And then all of a sudden, this happens, guys. That's right. Teresa Tam, who pushed the COVID jabs and the mask, resigns from her position. Did she really resign, guys? This transgender piece of shit. Did she really resign? Come on, think about it. Did she really resign, or was she, put in jail for crimes against humanity, along with the other NIH group and all those other CDC groups? She's been gone a long time. They just needed her to expose her even more, the white hats and Donald Trump. So she resigns, even though you've got it from me, not from Mr. Sunshine, not from Moose on the Loose, not from Northern Perspective, none of those podcasters. You got it from me a long time ago when I said she hasn't been in the picture for the longest time. And all of a sudden she steps down and resigns. No, she resigned all right, AKA Gidble. That's what resign means for her. So other things that have been happening that you guys, if you haven't seen, well, you should be seeing, is all around the world with their whole, the things that's happening around the world with mass immigrations. So obviously mass immigration, I've already told you about this. It's the worst thing any country can do is bring in immigrants. You bring in the best debater with me, okay, when it comes to immigration, and I'll definitely win. You can bring 3 of them against me. You can bring 5 debaters, top debaters about immigrants and diversity is our strength. And I guarantee when it comes to the debate being done, good old Jeff Freedom is going to be on top of this, because no one's going to debate me when it comes to immigration. Because I'm going to tell you, there's no such thing as diversity being a strength. Diversity in this part is a narrative, and it's to destabilize every economy. So you Canadian elbows up crew that think that migrants make up and we stole the land from the natives bullshit, same like what Mexico's doing to the United States. I don't know if you guys knew that the LA riots is all these Mexicans stating that the LA was their land and it was stolen. Mexicans complaining that United States was stolen land from them. Can you imagine? This is the narrative that they've been doing for the longest time. They've been doing it in the States and been doing it in Canada for the past 100 and something years when it comes to who stole it from, like, where did the natives get it from? So did they steal it from Mother Nature? Did they steal it from God? There's no such thing as land being stolen. That was always been programmed in our heads for hundreds of years. All right, for the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, this goes back since 1500 when the Rothschilds, 1564, if I'm not mistaken, when the Rothschilds start surfacing. All right, this was all about power and control with the world. All right, this is a very demonic family. And it's amazing, guys, again, when I'm watching, and as soon as I talk about immigration, the numbers of the viewers go down. I hate that with such a passion. When I see the numbers go down when I talk about immigration, it makes me so angry that I wish I found out who was unfollowing or stopped following me. When as soon as I mention immigrants, you see the numbers drop by 10 or 12 people automatically. These are the people that really need the good old throat punch, the good old kick in the ass. These are the liberal voters that, oh my God, he sounds racist when he talks about immigrants that way. Immigrants didn't build this land, just to let you know, all right? Immigrants 100 years ago are not immigrants, all right? Just to let you know, all right? So the immigrants that are coming in now do not build land, do not do anything for the countries that they go in when I say that. Now, an immigrant to me, if your parents are not born into that province or in that country, if your parents, you're an immigrant. Now, my family's been here in Canada, sorry, I'm in Colombia, since we traced them back since the 1600s. We're not immigrants, all right? You understand? If it wasn't for us colonizers that came in to help the community and we stole the land from natives, well, we still be hunting beavers and we still be wearing chipmunk hats and we still be living in teepees, doing smoke signals for communication. There wouldn't be no cell phones. We'd be doing smoke signals. And I don't even think they came up with the pigeon theory where you put a note on the pigeon and you send it across. Anyway, so we're called colonizers because obviously we colonize an economy, a country to make it bigger and better. You understand? So I get a kick when they say we stole land from the natives because, natives haven't invented anything. When you let me know what a native invented, then we'll talk. All right. So I get a kick out of it for some reason. That's not racist, by the way. That's called being a realist. And those are realistic facts that you have to separate from people that vote liberal, because obviously they don't know what reality is all about. But those are true facts. All right. Just to let you know. So anyway, speaking of true facts, check out what Poland just did. So Poland just elected a new president who was endorsed by Donald Trump and won by less than 1%, which they try to cheat in Poland. His name is Karol Nawrocki, a national historian. All right, a nationalist historian, now holds a veto power over the pro-EU European Union government's agenda, backed by far-right populists like Hungary's Orban and Italy's Meloni. She's like the Donald Trump for females. He wouldn't signals a growing alliance of Trump-style politics in Europe, one that could reshape the whole future of NATO, Ukraine, and the EU. Guys, he's going to mess things up when it comes to their plans. All right. And Poland is the only country in the entire world. Poland is the only country that doesn't have immigrants in their country. And if you don't believe me, check out their videos on how beautiful their cities are. There's no immigrants. So when people say that immigrants, diversity is a strength, look at our towns, our cities, our countries, and then go look at Poland. That's a pretty good example of why they don't bring in immigrants. All right. And unfortunately, the crappy part about Canada is we have too many right now. And it's not the right immigrants, to be honest with you. It's immigrants that are going to soak up the economy. They're not there to help. They're literally there to destabilize. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if you call me a bigot. I don't care if you call me a racist. I don't care if you call me homophobe. I don't care about none of that. Because at the end of the day, everything I say is common sense and the truth. All right? There's no filter. All right? So enough about that. For you, obviously, Elbows Up crew don't follow me, but if they did, they wouldn't last long. Because usually within 10 minutes, any Elbows Up crew would definitely, skip me, which is fine. But anyway, did you guys, speaking of the Elbows Up crew, did you see what Carney, with the voters of what a Canadian family is going to save a year, guys? $280. That's the Liberal savings a year. Now, I don't know about you guys, but that's under $1 a day. That's right. $1 a day for a family, not per person, for a family. $280. That's the Liberals' promise of saving money, guys. That's the money. Can you believe that? He ran on that. $280 that you guys are going to save. You elbows up pieces of, boop, boop, boop. All right. So yeah, 280 guys. You can't even buy a coffee with 80 cents. Would that work out to be? If anybody wants to take a calculator, take $280 and divide it by 365 and see how much we're actually saving a day as a family, not per person. So I can't even believe. All right. I can't even believe that. That's disgusting. Literally disgusting. All right. I'm ashamed and I'm disgusted. Just disgusting. And, for the people that didn't know that, and there's a lot more. I don't know if you guys, us Canadians, just to let you know, there's a video going around, guys. There's a video going around with an immigrant, Pakistan, Paki, I like to call them, because I'll call the Chinese a chink. I'll call, I don't, Italian, I'll call them a wop. I still go by the old Archie Bunker names, right? Chink, wop, Paki, you know what I mean? Either way, those were old terminologies back in the 70s, 80s, 90s. I keep that, I'm old school. So it's not an East Indian, it's a Paki to me. So anyway, there's a Paki that's on video literally making fun of the Canadian government because he's in Canada, saying how much they scam the Pakistans, or the Pakis are scamming the Canadian government and the Canadian people, laughing at us. If you guys haven't seen the video, Mo, did you see the video? Check out, the video is going to be going viral, by the way. You're going to see it. And so John says 77 cents. I said 75, so I was close. So yeah, you're going to see that video go viral of a Paki literally telling people on how they're scamming the Canadian people, because I hate using the word Canadian government, all right? Because the Canadian government is our money, all right? There's no such thing as the Canadian government, the taxpayers, all right? So he's literally laughing at all the Canadian people right now as we speak. The video's going viral. You guys might not see it today, but you're definitely going to see it within the next 2 days. Lynn said I posted it above. Lynn, if you posted it, everybody, if you don't want to watch that video, check out Lynn. She said she had posted it above, whatever that means. So it could be on her live, on her Facebook wall. Either way, you guys are going to be furious. Pauline said groceries expected to rise $800 this year. Yep. I was about to say that, Pauline. We're saving $280, guys, but the price of groceries, that is about $800 extra that we're going to have to pay, not on top of what your carbon tax is going to come into play, just a matter of time. But guys, for us Canadians, don't worry about it. And you're hearing this from me again, not from the other tards of podcasters, all right? Just to let you know. Not from the other retards that call themselves podcasters. Just to let you know, yeah, Pauline, that's right, $82,000 a year, all right? $82,000 a year they scam. So anyway, we're going to have to go through pain, okay? We're going to have to go through pain before it gets better. Just like America had to do with Joe Biden, they're doing the same thing to us with Mark Carney. Is he going to last 4 years? I'd like to say no, to be honest with you. I don't think we're going to have 4 years of Carney, to be honest with you. I do believe we're going to have less than 2 years or even less than a year. But either way, we're going to go through some pain. But Trump is not going to let us go through all that pain, all right, for 4 years. Obviously, he can't wait that long. Donald Trump can't wait that long. So it's all about disclosure, showing on a daily basis of how corrupt the liberal government really is. And I think there's a lot of them in there that don't even know they're being set up. That's how dumb they really are, all right? That's how really dumb they really are, that they don't even know that they're being set up. So I love it. If they watch my podcast, they would know how dumb they really were. You know, I remember commenting on Dominic LeBlanc's on his Facebook wall about a month and a half, 2 months ago, saying, "You're so," and this is on his wall. I think some of you seen it. I said, "You're so dumb, you don't even know you're being set up to be put in Gitmo." And I put that on his wall. And of course, I had some feedback of his followers, but trust me, I hit them all too when it came to common sense. So I hope he's seen the post. And if he thinks I'm joking, well, that's far, you know, we'll see who laughs last. Let's put it that way. All right. So I'm going to go into showing you guys more thing. And just to the American family, when I tell you guys that our country, Canada, is the most corrupted country in the entire world, even worse than Colombia, you have to believe me on this. When I said to this a few years ago, I said they're saving Canada for last. All right. Even though Donald Trump says they're saving Israel for last, that's for exposure. But they're saving Canada for last. And I couldn't think of why, besides us being the most peaceful country in the world. We've always been known to be the peacekeepers throughout the world, and all this stuff. Well, they were saving Canada for last for a reason. But check this out, guys. This is from our Canada Revenue Agency. Canada Revenue Agency. This is an ad. You guys are not going to believe this. So this is the CRA, an ad saying, "Hey, have you welcomed a new child to your family? Congrats. You could be eligible for the Canadian Child Benefits. Use our calculations to see how much you could get." Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to let this up for a minute because maybe you guys can't see because it's a phone. All right, check that out. I want you guys to take a good look at that photo. Yeah, Moses, Jesus. Yeah, take a look at that photo, guys. If that doesn't make you want to go and burn that place down, yeah, that is just the saddest effing thing. So when I tell you guys that Canada is the most corrupted place in the world, all right, and demons literally live in Canada, in our caucus, in our parliament, this is exactly, all right. And you're right, Jennifer. It's a silent dictatorship. Yeah, not known exactly. Yeah. So Daly says, I saw that, disgusting. They are intentionally mocking and racing women with our money. So, and the baby's black, just to let you know, all right? Cecile goes, fudge packers with a black baby. Now, what makes me laugh about this is the fact is, where is child protection? Where is child protection when you see that? Because obviously, if you got two gay guys raising a kid, that's torture for a kid, all right? Because that's literally putting a kid in a spot that kid is going to either be, I hate to use the word bullying, because bullying don't really happen. That's just a narrative. Oh, this kid killed himself because of bullying. Bullies. No, that was part of the narrative, along with the other bull crap that they always try to program in our mind. They did the bullying thing for one reason why, and we'll see how much you guys are paying attention. All right. Why do you think that the governments, the school and education that are controlled by the Rothschilds and all that, why do they think for the past 20 years they were pushing the bullying agenda? We'll see if you guys are thinking with your pineal glands. Why do you think they were doing these false narratives and saying that this kid killed himself from bullying? All right. Why do you guys think that they've been pushing, even though they push a lot of narratives, but why do you guys think they were pushing the bullying thing? Anybody? I bet you guys don't know. Maybe one or two might think about it. Daly says, priming kids to not challenge their agenda. I hate saying that you're wrong, because there's no such thing as a wrong answer. People too soft now? Easy to control pussies? My grandkids' school only pushes Aboriginals, which again is division. Demolition man, I don't know what that means. Anybody? Destroy masculinity? Yeah. I think Martin got it. So there's a reason why. One is, like Martin said, is we all know, check this out. All right, follow me here. Is because I used to do seminars back in 2006 about this. All right, so as we know now, is they put chemicals in the vaccines when kids are babies. All right, so much chemicals that it disrupts hormones. All right, and the kids. All right, so little boys and little girls. So, for example, boys that have testosterone, they'll put estrogen in their vaccines. So what happens when you put estrogen in the vaccine and testosterone? It usually, depending on how much estrogen you put in. Let me rephrase that. Sorry. When you put testosterone vaccines in a testosterone baby that has a test, when you put two tests together, two tests, like back in biology, two tests makes a negative, correct? So what happens is, if you fill up your body with testosterone, testosterone becomes estrogen. Estrogen is the female hormone. So what happens is, as little boys, when they're babies, they put in hormones, testosterone hormones, not to make the kid more masculine. No, because when you put too much test in a vaccine, too much test in a baby that has test becomes estrogen. Okay, follow me here. Now, what happens to a baby girl? Well, when you put testosterone in a baby that has estrogen, follow me, that has estrogen, testosterone being the more aggressive or more genetically, I'm trying to think of the word. I'm having a brain fart. Dominance. Testosterone is the more dominant hormone. Now, the testosterone takes over the estrogen. So what happens is, we have little girls now that don't want to be little girls. We have girls that do weightlifting, that are doing bicep poses, and they're at CrossFit, and well, no, man, I don't need a man to run my life. I don't need a family. I don't need this. And they're more independent. So it destroys the little girl's dream of raising a family and having a big family. And that's been happening for the last 25 years. All right. It makes a female think more of a male. That's why we have just as much hockey teams now of females than just as much as males. I've seen hockey teams that have 15 players, and 8 of them are females on that team. All right, just to let you know. So this has always been agenda, but here's where the bullying comes: is when the kids become soft, aka little boys become like little girls. is it becomes a reality where we have to accept them. They want they want society to accept these little boys that are wearing man buns and bringing their pants up to their ankles, like if there's a flood coming. You understand? There's no more alpha males, is what I'm trying to say. All right, just to let you know. And they've been doing that for the last 25 years. I know that for a fact because in 2006 I was pushing this, showing on my seminars of what they've been trying to do. So they're literally killing the families of females of having kids. That's why follow me. That's why you see a lot of families today, all right, not having kids. And that's why you see a lot of Muslim families having 4, 5, 6 kids. Because the Canadian women and the American women have that thought in their mind. And I'm not talking about the older girls, like you older ladies, calm down now, the 30s plus. I'm not literally talking about, you ladies. I'm talking about the people, the kids that have been born from the year 2000 up. From the year 2000 up, you're going to notice a huge difference in the kids today, all right? A huge thing. Now, Canadian families, white predominant families, are not having kids no more because there's no such thing as marriages as much as there used to be. You'll find out that more females now cheat on their boyfriends, their husbands, than what the husbands, once upon a time, the guys were cheating on the women. But now the women are cheating on the guys, and at a predominant force. Like, I mean, you don't understand. I used to own a nightclub, one of the biggest nightclubs in Atlantic Canada. And I used to analyze a lot of stuff. And I used to see girls, I'm like, hey, she was with her boyfriend last week at the club. Or I've seen her on, at the mall with her boyfriend. But now she's here. This week she's with this guy. And then this week she's with this guy. But on Facebook, she still has a boyfriend. This has been happening since the early 2000s. All right, just to let you know. So this was all pre-planned and set up for an agenda, because what happens with being soft and with the whole bullying is, for this main reason, is we have to accept these beta cockless kids, all right, that there's no more white kids, because by 2050, the whole Quran, if I pronounce that right, the whole Muslim Quran is to have dominance of the Muslim of the world, to be Muslim by the year 2050. That's in the Quran, just to let you know. All right, just to let you know. So and the only way to get to that is what they've been doing since the early 2000s with the vaccines and the kids. Now that's going to change, but the kids that were born from 2000 up to 2024, that's a lost generation, guys. And I'm not saying about everybody, but a good majority is a lost generation, just to let you know. But now that RFK is in there and has taken out all those vaccines, the new generation is going to be a whole different progress. All right? That's the good news, thanks to RFK. But that's why you see the Muslim communities taking over the world, is because what I just explained to you about what they've been doing to the white babies, because you don't see this happen in the Muslim communities. They don't get 72 vaccines in their babies in Muslim communities, just to let you know. All right? So, and Jennifer just said, being 55 and still single is not normal. That's a good, that's a good question. That's a good answer. It's completely true. All right? Just to let you know. And I know a lot of single women. My girlfriend's friends, they're all single. Beautiful girls, but they're dominant. They got that alpha male in them. You can't tell them what to do. That's why they're always going to be single. Right? Just to let you know. I tell them that. I don't tell it how it is. I usually just try to sugarcoat it and say, well, the main reason is because your attitude sucks. All right? But I don't say that because obviously it's my girlfriend's friends. But when you go out with a male wants to be a male. But when you're going out and you feel like you're the female, not too many alpha males like that. So any male that these girls get are usually beta males, where they can be run all over the place, like literally told what to do. And you're going to get a few. You ladies are going to, you're going to nab a few of those fish, but you're not going to get any alpha males. All right, just to let you know. All right, guys, and that's all about destruction of the whole family. All right, the whole family. This has been happening since early 2000. I've talked about it on many seminars. I've done this since 2006, doing seminars about what their plans were, but I didn't know what the final plan is. Obviously, 19 years later, it all makes sense. But I mean, try talking to a podcaster, including Joe Rogan, and see if he knows about stuff about that. No, you're not going to have Joe Rogan talk about that because Joe Rogan doesn't know anything when it comes to common sense, when it comes to that. But he's got 10 million subscribers. All right. Again, obviously, Joe Rogan is a plant of having all these subscribers, which is not true. He's got a few subscribers, but they make it look like he's got 10 million because that's the whole point. He's a plant. He's a Bernie Sanders supporter. And if you know anything about Bernie Sanders to our American family, then you know that if Joe Rogan is a Bernie Sanders guy, then you know he's been compromised and always been compromised. So guys, I want to share a lot more things tonight, but the main subject I want to talk about tonight was the World War III. All right? No such thing as World War III. Like I predicted, I showed you guys the truth. So now you guys can calm yourselves down. Don't worry about the future. Don't worry about Canada, our Canadian family. Things will get rough, obviously, but you can blame that to the elbows up cronies and elbows up being a hockey player. I got 6 teeth that are capped from getting an elbows up in the face playing hockey. That's my friend Glenn Lewis, who is a good friend of mine now, but that's the elbows up that these voters need, is a good, throw punch and an elbows up to break all their teeth. So they'll probably, learn their lesson next time. But, give, instead of give a hug to your nearest liberal voter, good elbows up to your next door neighbor who's a liberal. Usually will do the trick. That's my advice to everybody when it comes to that. Anyway, guys, elbows up, fingers in their ass. Either way, they like it both. And I had to say it because, a little bit of comedy. But speaking of comedy, before I leave, I got one more comedy for you guys. Let's see a little bit of comedy. Is there a comedy? Here's a little comedy for you guys, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Check that out. Isn't that funny? Once you see it, you can't unsee that, right? It's kind of scary, isn't it? With Ellen. And if anybody knows what the picture on top, that was from the movie Salem's Lot. It scared me to hell when I seen that movie, but that was the vampire movie from Salem's Lot. That movie, I used to stay up till 12 o'clock to watch that movie, and I always fall asleep. But it was one of my favorite horror movies when I was a kid, called Salem's Lot. But there it is, split an image, right? Split an image. You can't unsee it. You can't unsee it. It's funny as hell. Adrenochrome. Yeah, goodbye to adrenochrome for Miss Ellen. Anyway, guys, I love you all. We'll see you guys back Thursday. I'll be back at home as of Wednesday in I can't call it Canada, more like we call it Pakistan or Canada. Trust me, guys, I don't really want to come back to Canada. We don't see Pakis here. We don't see Africans here. We do have some Jamaicans, obviously, but they're put in their place when they need to. But there's no Africans. There's no Pakis. There's no Chinese. There's no Iraqians. There's no Arabians. There's none of that here in Colombia. And I hope to God there will never be, to be honest with you. Because if there ever is, I will pay the cartel to take them out personally when it comes to that, because they're not going to bring that. And actually, they would be beheaded down here anyway, because if they try to bring Muslim into a place like Colombia, they literally would be beheaded, because they love God way too much to bring that shit down here, which I don't think it'll happen anytime soon, to be honest with you. So anyway, I love you guys all. Take care. We'll see you guys back Thursday night. And to finish off the show, because obviously we need a little comedy in our life, here's a little high res with 2 + 2 = 5 to make fun of the transgender people. And obviously, speaking of transgender, before we go there, I got one more comedy for you guys too. I know a lot of you guys are stepping off, but check this out. Here's a little Julia Roberts. Look at that, back in 1982, guys. That's right, elite gender transition. There's Julia Roberts when she was a teenager, for the people that didn't know that. That's right, all your celebrities, the Brooke Shields, all of them. The Ellen DeGeneres, there's a gang of them. They're all were boys. There's there, there's your Julia Roberts right there, my friends, and ask why Julia Roberts never had real kids. Well, that's because she was born, or she was she was a he. So that, I thought that was pretty funny. So I want to share that with you guys. Pretty funny, right? So anyway, that's it for tonight. Here's a little 2+2 by High Res to get some comedy, just to enjoy your time, guys, because obviously World War III has never started and will never start, obviously, under Donald Trump. I love you guys all. And like Don Cherry says, you people hold that line. I'm going outside in this beautiful weather to head downtown to enjoy the last night I have in Cartagena, which is the beach capital of Colombia. And because, I'm leaving in a couple of days, so I want to try and enjoy everything. But I came on here just specifically for you guys. My eyes are hurting because staring at this little screen is hurting my eyes. So I'm not stoned, I'm not drunk. Obviously, my eyes hurt from looking at cell phones right now, to the point that I'm probably going to have to get prescription glasses with Blu-ray in them, because it's starting to bug my eyes right now to the point that I don't like it. So I try to stay away from my cell phone as much as I can. I love you guys all. We'll see you guys back Thursday. Enjoy the video. Adios.
So it's different, as you know, that with equity comes... Class, please welcome the new student, Robert.
Welcome, Robert.
Well, thanks for the warm welcome, Teach. It's lit, no cap.
Take a seat. White privilege is something
Welcome.
that each and every one of you bigots and colonists have.
Wow.
Oh my god, is that red?
Kick the fathers out the house, send the mothers back to work. Let the school system parent your children right from the birth. Make them meal, feed them pills, confuse them about what's real. Tell them facts don't really matter, it's all about how you feel. Science and math are racist, history let's erase it. Indoctrinate a whole generation, you can't escape it. It's bigger than American politics, you're an accomplice. White people racist and bigots and you're a colonist. If you want freedom, we'll encourage to do the opposite. It's toxic masculinity, if a man is too confident. Excuse me, what's a woman? Well, I am not a biologist. Common sense is really not common when you're a communist. Parents that care about their kids, let's call them terrorists. It's cool to be a feminist and an environmentalist. And if you love the country, that makes you a white supremacist. Don't even try defending it, cause what you say's irrelevant. Put your hands up, everybody stand up. The whole world going mad, bruh. 2 + 2 = 5. You a racist if you don't think that adds up.
Better not be in here telling these children that men can't get pregnant.
Of course not, Mr. Smith.
And did you tell all the white children that they are racist?
And colonizers and bigots, yes.
Very good.
Go and put your hands up, everybody stand up. The whole world going mad, bruh. 2 + 2 = 5. You a homophobe if you don't think that adds up. Don't have children. If you do, then abort them. If your neighbors don't comply with the government, then report them. If you have independent thoughts, then just ignore them. Communism's the way, democracy is too boring. Bring your kids to a drag show. Give them a couple dollars to put right up in their asshole. Don't worry about the Epstein flight logs. The case is closed, so don't even go and ask, bro. Trust the WHO and CDC. None of our politicians work for the CCP. White kids are born racist. If you disagree, that makes you a damn racist. Study CRT. In today's lesson, men can get pregnant. Put your hands down, no more questions. Don't say pedophile, just say ALA. Adults that like adolescents. Go and put your hands up, everybody stand up. The whole world going mad, bruh. 2 + 2 = 5. You a racist if you don't think that adds up. Go and put your hands up, everybody stand up. The whole world going mad, bruh. 2 + 2 = 5. You a homophobe if you don't think that adds up.
We want to drive the whole world crazy. Brainwash kids from the time they're babies. We want you dependent and lazy. They never
Thank you for watching my brand new music video, 2 + 2 = 5. If you can, check out the description box below. Click that link and grab yourself a t-shirt. Common sense isn't common when you're a communist. I appreciate y'all.